Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Top of the morning to you. Compliments of this great season. Thank you so much for keeping faith with us and starting your morning again with us on Morning Spring. Reaching you from Western Spring Television. You can watch us live on Star Times channel 190 and also on YouTube at Western Spring Television. Also, check us out on all of our other social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television. On Twitter is at WSTV_NG. Femi Olanipeku is my name. It's a lovely morning again, lovely Wednesday morning with middle of the week. This week is almost gone again.
Of course, it's almost gone. It has come with its own troubles and sometimes good times. But then we thank God it's another day to be here in the studio and be on your airwaves, in your faces and in your ears. Thank you so much for joining us once again. My name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. And it's the Wednesday edition of the program. We hope we will be bringing you interview sections, newspaper review, and of course the spring trends. And remember to follow us on all social media handles. Of course, you can follow us personally on Twitter at EM and still on Twitter
at FM Olanipeku. I mean, like that, it's straight and simple.
It's not an old man.
It's not complicated, like some relationship status. Okay, well, so I mean, we can take this short break now. When we return, we'll bring you the newspapers. But I mean, Emmanuel, as usual, I came in this morning and long queues. And the candidate of the PDP will be coming to town today. He's actually in the state. He has visited some traditional rulers. I also noticed a bit of activity of security agents, some blocking the roads already. I don't know. I mean, it beats me all of the time. Why? Each time there's a government official, a top politician, you have security operatives blocking the roads. And then for me, it's actually making life unbearable for many people. But it is what it is. It is happening. But more importantly, Emmanuel, there is a fuel station along the road down here. The queue stretched down, you know, has gone past our own junction here. It's that bad. The filling station down the road, going to the next town, the queue has stretched from that end past our junction coming this morning. The one at the NNPC around Lameko also is also, you know, it's unfortunate, man. I don't know how we're going to manage this, but then this is unfortunate, not this season anymore.
Yes, lots of lost man hours, a lot of
productive hours.
Yes, a lot of lost emotional stability.
People will faint, and some people will even get. I mean, so
and people get to the office very angry. And that means when you
transfer aggression.
Yes.
So a boss, you know, a boss that went to queue. When I come back to work and one subordinate will do anyhow, you will see anyhow.
It's really sad.
And we do hope that we get over this. It's deeply frustrating. My own fuel gauge is nose diving. Let me use that word.
Yeah, I can teach you how to trek. It's very good to trek. You'll be fit. Very fit like Usain Bolt.
All right. Yes. I reserve my words.
Of course.
Let's go to the newspapers, shall we? All right, so let's bring you the papers now. Let's start with the Punch newspaper. The banner headline, New Naira, customers, companies panic as CBN slashes withdrawal limits. With the riders over the counter weekly withdrawals, 100,000 Naira for individuals, 500,000 Naira for firms. POS terminal operators plan nationwide protest, say policy will kill businesses. Practical situation on the ground doesn't support this policy. SMEs, bank customers. And you have a small infographic of the new CBN policy on cash withdrawal limit at a glance there. Check it out on the Punch newspaper. There's an analysis of it. For the old, it's 2.5 million Naira weekly. Now it's 500,000 Naira daily. And new is now 100,000. I mean, just check it because of our time. We can check it on the Punch newspaper above the nameplate by the left-hand corner. Diaspora Nigerian sue INEC over poll, train attack victims, demand FG compensation. Queues grow. Ex-depot price hits 235 naira per litre. I understand some actually bought for as more as 400 naira in Lagos yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, per litre.
Even here in Osun, I boarded the bus yesterday, and the normal fare that was 100 naira was 150. Because according to the driver, he bought fuel for 300 naira, and he couldn't afford to shortchange himself. They had to increase.
Yeah, to pass it up on you guys.
Yes, it's disappointing, and the fact that people have been talking and still nothing has been done, and then the NNPC coming out to say they have enough to last for 34 days or thereabout. I mean, where is the 34
days? Why is the Minister of Petroleum not saying it? He's not used
currently
to
out of he's going out of the country very soon to receive an award somewhere in Guinea-Bissau.
Okay,
he's very busy.
Right. Nigeria others facing huge debt crisis, says World Bank. Down bottom strip of the paper, Lagos OK's hijab for schools. PFN preaches peace. Soldier with fibroid tortured for attempting to resign. And FG sets up panel to probe oil theft. That's the much we have on the Punch newspaper.
All right, moving on to the Guardian newspaper this morning. The Guardian newspaper, the banner headline this morning is Nigeria to spend 160% of revenue on debt service in 2027. World Bank warns. Ghana's default raises fear about Nigeria's fate. World Bank pushes for aggressive reforms to save economy. 70% of bank loans go into state project. Poor countries' debt service payment to top $62 billion, says report. We did say that yesterday about having so much debt to pay for the unborn generations. Now, by 2027, we'll be spending 160% of our revenue.
So that's effectively in crisis. What we do at this moment now is around 96% of our earnings. So for every 100 naira made, we spend 96 naira to pay debts, manage the debts, service the debt, as they say. So World Bank is projecting by 2027 it's 106%. So that means we'll be borrowing to even pay the debt, and that will be a big crisis. Then we do hope that we do not get to that stage.
Of course, we hope we do not. Below that story, Chatham House, Tinubu tired, should take deserved rest, says Articles 8. Boko Haram kills 33 wives of ISWAP fighters. And that's a funny one there, but really not funny. Innocent people suffering the excesses of two extremist groups. And below the nameplate of the Guardian newspaper, CBN places restrictions on cash withdrawals beginning January 9th. Invisible challenge, NCC warns TikTok users on information stealing malware. Aregbesola loyalists sees hostilities, move to rebuild Osun APC after Oyetola's defeat. That's on page 5 of that newspaper. And controversy trails new correctional facility as firm demands land compensation from NCOS, as on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, interesting. So we'll be talking more about the Osun APC development later on, but I just wanted to ask if Emmanuel participates in many of these challenges on TikTok and what have you. Which of them have you participated or you do intend participating in? Well,
I really don't participate on challenges on TikTok. What I use TikTok to do is to teach people how to properly pronounce words. That's what I do. Some of the challenges are outrightly absurd.
I was just wondering if you are part of the absurdities.
I can't go naked on TV.
I see.
On social media.
Oh, interesting. That's good to know. But let's move on to the This Day newspaper anyway. This Day newspaper banner headline here says that the move that may prevent vote buying. CBN sets new withdrawal limits. With the riders restricts individuals to 100,000 naira, corporate withdrawals to 500,000 naira weekly, daily POS withdrawal pegged at 220,000 naira, ATM 100,000 naira weekly. Says third-party checks about 50,000 naira not eligible for OTC payment, that's over the counter payment. Urges customers to use eNaira, other digital payment channels. Warns banks against policy violation. Apex Bank records 8 billion naira eNaira transactions in 1 year. Buhari seeks a second term for 2 CBN deputy governors. And just above that, Atiku Tinubu's Chatham House appearance comparable only to stand-up comedy. But the rider whip for Nigeria, not APC candidate. PDP admonishes, says ex-Lagos governor advertised incapacity. inefficiency. And just above the nameplate, again, World Bank raises alarm, says Nigeria's economy at critical juncture. And this alarm, is worrying because if you know what's happening in Ghana, Ghana's economy has tanked such that they're trying to restructure debt, and there's a lot of panic going on in that West African nation at the moment.
And they are just right beside us.
Yes, just right beside us. Classic case of mismanagement. And Ghana discovered oil some years back, and it was like, no, we're not going to make the mistake of Nigeria. They were saying that actually, but it seems that they've made that mistakes. They've copied us. Well, someone actually referred to Nigeria as a syllabus severo, at some point. So they've studied the syllabus. They've done even beyond what we have done. So they are in a critical financial mess at the moment. And so the World Bank warning us also, we should do whatever we can to avoid that kind of ditch. Just above that story is Tinubu, how I made my money. I'm not denying my wealth, says West still uncomfortable with Buhari reason they are not selling arms to his government. Vows Nigerians won't suffer under him because he's not the incumbent. Boasts he remains front runner for 2023 presidential run. I mean, so this story was taken from the BBC interview that Peter Koche had with him immediately after the Chatham House session. It doesn't really, I'm not sure he's going to do any interview to any Nigerian medium. I hope he's not following in the footsteps of the president, who does not really all of the time also do interviews with the Nigerian media like that.
Well, there is, he had an explanation for that still at Chatham House on Sunday when he was asked that question over the weekend. And he told the interviewer that he has a marketable face. And he thinks that the Nigerian media houses want to make money off him.
Oh, it's like an FMCG, fast-moving consumer.
So he is trying to deprive them of that revenue base. We used the video on Spring Trades yesterday, and it was quite funny that people are complaining that we don't want to go down this path. We want to talk to our president. We don't want him to talk to us through some foreign media house or some foreign medium. We want to see him. And so it's sad that we have an aspiring presidential candidate who feels that he's doing media houses a favor by speaking to them.
So whether you're marketable or not marketable, whether you are an FMCG or you are not, you should engage the people.
Yes.
You should. There's some mistakes they've made in the past that we should not repeat. We should have a president that engages the people. You see some issues, in the Western world, in the US, in the UK, something as small as, 2 persons dying, and then you see the president addressing, going there, speaking to journalists there. But here, we seem to have grown numb. We seem to have lost our humanity at some point because people die in tens and hundreds now. We just move on.
It's just another story.
We do not even bat an eyelid. We just move on. There was a time there will be outrage, but now because of the frequency of these issues, we seem not to care anymore.
Yes,
and that's
another day, another
death. Yes. So perhaps the last paper for you, Emmanuel.
Yes, that's the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Daily Trust newspaper, and you can see right there the banner headline, or the biggest headline, is CBN limits cash withdrawals, circulation of 500 naira, 1,000 naira notes. Individuals to access 100,000 naira per week, firms 500,000. Policy will trigger mad rush, undermine mobile money agents, that's experts. Page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper has more on that story this morning. Interview How I Made My Money by Tinubu, that's on page 4 still. And Sharia judge registrar remanded for diverting 166 million naira inheritance, that's on page 21. Gunmen abduct 8 villagers in FCT, demand 25 million naira. That's right in the capital of Nigeria. Gunmen abducting 8 villagers and demanding 25 million naira. If the capital of this country is not safe, then of course we should probably know what to expect in the rural areas. Above the, below the name. Okay, you wanted to say something.
Yes, I saw a headline this morning on the Punch website. That is not, perhaps that story came after the paper had gone for production. These villagers that you say were kidnapped, Punch reported that there was a core member amongst them, you know, and it was actually kidnapped in his father's house, in her father's house, you know, and that's in Abuja. I think Arab contractors estate or something like that, somewhere in Abuja. So it's not really a village per se. So imagine, I mean, a core member, if it had happened while she was away in camp or where she was posted, but she was kidnapped right in her father's house. It's hard. Now, like you said, if these issues now begin to spread to the capital city, it gets more even more worrisome. It's difficult, it's sad, it's terrible that it's happening in areas around the country, in far-flung hinterlands and the north, in many parts of the country. But then when it gets to Abuja, the city center, and there's been a reduction of these before, you know, there was a time that it was almost every other day, but we've seen, you know, sort of a reduction. Now there seems to be a resurgence. So what we did that time to reduce it, I think we need to revisit.
Yes, that should be done. Now, still on the Daily Trust newspaper, below the nameplate, Adamawa governorship, Ribadu drops legal battle against Binani. Ribadu drops legal battle against Binani. There's been some back and forth at the Adamawa state there concerning the governorship tickets. The court has been disqualifying, requalifying, and now Ribadu has chosen to drop those legal battles against Binani so she can run for governorship. Senate moves to whittle down federal government's power to grant tax waivers. Senate moves to whittle down federal government's power to grant tax waivers. And race to National Assembly, Kwara Central, Buhari's loyalists, Suraki's associates in fierce contest. That's what you have there on the Daily Trust newspaper. I'm very surprised we don't have the reminder of the number of days that some kidnapped victims have spent in captivity. I don't know if that was
sometimes deliberate. You also do not be weary in good doing. We really trust will be an oversight, or perhaps they stopped it for today. But nonetheless, we still do remember them at our own end here. All of those who are in captivity, Leah Sharibu, the students of FGCE have been in Yauri, and the students of Bethel College, Baptist. You know, Bethel Baptist College. We do hope that they're rescued as soon as possible. The common headline to all of the papers today is that CBN withdrawal limit. I think we have some conversations about it before the end of the week. But
yeah, so let me just breeze through some of the policies for the benefit of our viewers who have yet to come across it. So the first point there is that the maximum cash withdrawal over the counter by individuals and corporate organizations per week shall henceforth be 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively. Withdrawals above this limit shall attract processing fees of 5% and 10% respectively. And 2, third-party checks above 50,000 naira shall not be eligible for payment over the counter, while extant limit of 10 million naira on clearing checks still subsist. Number 3, the maximum cash withdrawal per week via automated teller machine ATM shall be 100,000 naira, subject to a maximum of 20,000 naira cash withdrawal per day. And number 4, which seems to be the most interesting, where everybody has been talking about, only denominations of 200 naira and below shall be loaded into the ATMs.
So I had, I believe, a banker doing the analysis yesterday, and he said, so that means you have the ATMs will only be able to take 800,000 naira per time. I think there is a limit as to the number of notes. Banknotes that you put into the ATM. So by his calculation from experience, he said, so that means if it's only 200 naira that you can put in there, that means it's going to be only, 800,000. But there is a more interesting one, and it's for POS terminals. It's 20,000 naira per day.
That's the maximum cash
withdrawal. Yes, I've seen people withdraw hundreds of thousands through POS terminals before. And so this is good on one side as regards pushing for digital banking, for cashless policy. But you also look at Nigerian society. I mean, it's worked in other places in Kenya. There's what it's called, there's a mobile money plan called the M-Pesa. That's even bus drivers, everybody has it. It's connected directly to your phones and to your line. So the moment you have a telephone line, a mobile phone, you can use the M-Pesa to do transactions, to buy sugar, buy anything, to practically anything. But I'm not sure that we are ready for that. It's good that we transit to that level, but you also need to factor in the fact that the Nigerian economy is largely informal.
Yes.
So there are a lot of us, those of us who belong to the middle class here, I rarely go to the banks to do transactions again. I rather do on the phone, transfer here and there. But then a lot of people, the woman selling vegetables in the market, the woman, selling so many other things, in the market, who is not as lettered as this. Some will rely on their kids to even help them dial calls. So where does a policy like this leave them? It's good. The middle class will say, oh, it's good. But then are we sure we're not leaving behind some people, especially those in the very informal sector?
Yes, that was my concern yesterday. I mean, how will people who barely know how to use their phones, the market women, the pepper sellers and all of that, how do they cope? How do they cope with this new regulations? I mean, and it's also going to mean that there may be more notes in circulation. 200 naira, if I want to withdraw 20,000 naira now, it would be about 100 notes. Unlike when I had 1,000 naira, just 20 notes. But I will be carrying more cash. That's if I have to, I will be carrying more cash. And a lot of persons have been complaining about it. But number 6, in compelling circumstances, not exceeding once a month, where cash withdrawals above the prescribed limit is required for legitimate purposes, such cash withdrawals shall not exceed 5 million naira and 10 million naira for individuals and corporate organizations respectively, and shall be subject to the referenced processing fees in one above, in addition to due diligence and further information requirements. For 6 above, you are required to obtain the following information at the minimum and upload same on the CBN portal created for the purpose. You see all of the documents you need to get before you can withdraw 5 million naira or 10 million naira. 5 million naira as an individual, and 10 million naira as a corporate organization, subject to due diligence and further information requirement. We hope that is a well thought out policy.
I mean, so on many fronts, really, I do support this. But my concerns, what I listed out the other time about how we take care of those who are not used to this, they will need to get used to it. But then those who are not lettered, those who operate largely in the informal sector, because this policy, if you look at it also critically, is intending to now limit the circulation of 500 naira and 1,000 naira. If you check out other economies of the world, you do not see the higher denominations of the dollar and the pounds just anyhow, in fairness. And a friend of mine in the UK told me and said, Afemi, I've only seen the 100 pounds once. And that I do not see it. He lives in the UK. He said, I do not see it that often. I see only the 1, 2 pounds and whatever and 5 pounds. And he said, but I get to see it a lot when I come to Nigeria from the abokis. I mean, those selling, those currencies. So you imagine it's such that perhaps there's a way it's managed. Maybe that's what we want to do also here, but are we ready for that? So that will be the question. And also, it will, to some extent, curb some corruption, because you see people moving in cash. There is an angle to this about how this could also help in stemming vote buying. Because if the banks will be under strict instructions not to release cash, what do you need to do? I mean, you can you imagine the amount of cash that is released on election day to do vote buying?
Yes.
So with these, those guys will be hampered. But my worry, Emmanuel, is Nigerian politicians are too smart.
They have a way around everything.
It seems like they have a research and development department.
Yes, once the government policy comes out, they have a counter policy for it.
It comes out in a matter of minutes, a matter of weeks. So let's see how they will navigate this very one. But we do hope that the impact on the economy will be positive and not be negative. But
yes.
We'll get to speak to some experts maybe for the end of the week or next week. So they will help us also make a better understanding of this new policy by the CBN.
Of course, we hope to see that happen so that we can understand how to, work with the policy, not circumvent it, because there are heavy penalties for whoever tries to circumvent the process.
All right, so that's the papers this morning. We take a break. We'll return with our guest. Would you like a TV station that breaks the barriers of your TV screen? A TV station that brings infotainment to your forefront, breaking the conceptual fourth wall. Giving you television that is personal to you and your everyday life. Indigenous broadcasting for every man, cutting across the shackles of age, class, and language. With the best of equipment in digitized broadcasting. At Western Spring Television, your television experience has never been this magical.
We'll bring you the best in news and programs, breaking news to you as it drops from where it drops.
Talk shows that keep you glued to your seats, sports programs not void of in-depth analysis, entertainment programs cutting across all ages, political analysis with all its accompanying controversies, social responsibility because we care. Western Nigeria gave us our first feel of television. Western Spring Television is taking us to the next level.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine will be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if that.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Yes, you're Morning Spring is reaching you from Western Spring Television. We're reaching you live via Star Times, channel 190 on the DTT platform. You can also check us live on YouTube, Western Spring Television, and do well to subscribe to that YouTube channel when you check it out. On other social media handles, Emmanuel.
Well, on Facebook and Instagram is at Western Spring Television, and on Twitter it is at WSTV_NG. Do not forget to also engage some of our content and subscribe and follow where necessary.
All right, so we have our guest in the studio this morning. Our guest is, I know you prefer Comrade, right?
Comrade.
Okay, Comrade Oluwaseun Abose, otherwise known as Safety,
yes.
is a former Osun APC youth leader, and he was also until yesterday a member of the now defunct Osun Progressives, a member of the APC. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
This morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning to our listeners.
Well, tell us, that was shocking to many people, the press conference you had that was addressed by the former Speaker of the House, Dr. Najim Salam, announcing the dissolution of the Osun Progressives and saying it's the ending of the rift with the mainstream of the party and expressing readiness to work with the other groups to regain power. Tell us what informed that decision.
Politics, like a game of football, is about tactics and reorganization. Surprising, yes, to the outsiders, yes, to us, is a move, a calculated move to reposition our party. You cannot continue to do the same thing the same way and expect to get a different result unless you are winning. Nobody wants to change a winning team. But once there are issues, so yesterday, not yesterday in any case, it's just before you do anything, there are many preparations. We have had several meetings, we have had several consultations, and we have looked at it that for the past 12 years in the state, before the advent of former Governor Gboyega Oyetola, we got it right. We did the first time of Aregbesola, did the second time, and thrown Gboyega Oyetola himself before he came on board and mismanaged the party. That's what led to the formation of TOP then, which was basically demanding for the reorganization and repositioning the party towards the winning way, because we saw it that we would lose if we continue to manage the affairs of the party in a disjointed and disoriented manner in which it was managed by under the former Governor Prince Gboyega Famodun. So when we came on board, we formed TOP, we agitated. Unfortunately, our agitation was brought to naught. So we had lost. Unfortunately, in July 16 election, a new governor is in place now. Then it is necessary for us as a party to look at it again, that what can we do? We cannot continue to be, we have lost. It's not the first time we are going to lose, that APC will lose, or any party will lose power for that matter. But the ability of a man is when you fall, then you must rise again. It is in our attempt to rise again that we look at is that, okay, fine, TOP appears to have outdated its value, because we use it to agitate. It's time for us now, in the spirit of reconciliation, in the spirit of showing to the world that we are not just here to be shouting. We now lay down all form of hostility. We dissolved our party, APC, which I was the youth leader. Since yesterday, I've ceased being the youth leader of APC in Osun State. And we dissolved TOP again, which actually gave birth to our faction of the party, to show the world that we are genuine and we are concerned in negotiating again, to form everybody to come on board, because we believe that the moment we kept on holding to TOP, the Lady Oluwa faction of the APC will still be looking at us from the perspective that they belong to a particular caucus. So we came back into the party that, okay, fine, let us do it together now. You will recollect that the moment on August 21, I led close to 5,000 youths in the streets of Osun demanding for the restructuring of APC in Osun. It hasn't come to anything, but we believe that we'll continue to agitate and orientate the public and our party until we're able to get it right again. So to answer you, we dissolved TOP to ensure that we want to embrace everybody towards positioning our party for other elections that is ahead, and basically to prepare for the next gubernatorial election.
Well, interesting. You want to embrace other members of the party now.
And outsiders.
And outsiders. Yes. And so how do you preach reconciliation after what has happened? Those on the other side, especially those who lost the election, said you are partly responsible for their loss, that you worked actively for the party to lose. Some even accuse some members of the Osun Progressives of being in alliance, of even working overtly and covertly in some instances with the PDP to enthrone Senator Ademola Adeleke. They now say in the same breath How do you now come and continue to preach reconciliation?
I have told you one thing, that it is a game of strategy. Let me quickly debunk one thing. Well, overtly, I cannot be anywhere. I cannot be everywhere. Overtly, some people on that top might have walked that one. After all, Jesus had 12 disciples, and one of them was doing something behind. So anybody might have covertly walked for PDP. I wouldn't know.
But so I mean, there's some members of your group that worked with.
They left.
No, some left openly. Kola Kwalimi left
openly.
But there are insinuations that some actually worked while staying. I mean, so they paid the destroyer.
Insinuations.
I mean, so there could be some element of truth behind it, don't you think?
To address that one, don't let me be hiding behind the finger. To address that, the issue of the insinuation. You know, it is difficult at times to beat a child and ask a child not to cry. Gboyega Oyetola led administration were harassing, shooting on us, physical intimidation, and they shot members of Rauf Aregbesola political dynasty out of the party. Okranadla, they formed a close to 300 campaign committee. None, not even Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, made the list. So in that instances, it is possible that you see people that they will say that they're going to stay aloof. In that instances, it is possible to see people that will say, in Yoruba language, that we no go agree. It is possible. But what really matters and what is at the front burner is that on the eve of the election, that is July 15, Top came out with a position with the instruction of Rauf Aregbesola that everybody, regardless of how we have been treated, must vote for the party, and we voted for the party. But of course,
are you sure you voted for the party?
We voted for the party.
You voted for the party.
APC has always been my party.
Can you say the same of other members of the party, or other members of the group?
Majority of the party that I'm aware of voted for APC, and they even showed it. But as I've said, there are hardliners, and they will look at it that, for instance, let me tell you one thing. I only followed Rauf Aregbesola to the core. On July 16 last year, a Larry Oluwa people, thugs, came to my house. I was attacked. They took away my phone, my laptop, and my Camry car module that I was using then. It was a police, it was not an insinuation. We dragged the issue.
Are you sure it wasn't a robbery?
It wasn't a robbery, it wasn't a robbery. The police attempted to come out to corner it into that angle, but eventually we proved it. So we dragged the issue onto the Commissioner of Police desk, the then PPRO. I wouldn't know if she's still the PPRO for Lashade, whatever, you understand. So in this case, it's a known that it was widely. So I was attacked, just like many of our people then, because they didn't take anything. They only took for data. That was when we were collating the membership of Top. That was like the admin secretary. So that's what it came from in an attempt to just snatch the entire. Of course, after some days, they abandoned the vehicle at Dada State Police Station there. Now, what do I want to bring out? I was subjected in the front of my child and my 2 children. I was subjected to that kind of thing. So it is difficult for me to now look at it without any reconciliation, without those people coming back to say, okay, let us now work together. It might be difficult for me to vote such a party that intimidated me, that shot at me, that attempted to take my life if not for the grace of God. And that is what a lot of our people were subjected to. So it is difficult, as I was saying, that some people might not have a forgiving spirit and they will say, I will not vote for APC. But it is not on record that any member of APC voted against. It is not on record officially or publicly. You journalists and gentlemen of the press have not been able to show anybody on that top caucus that voted against APC.
Well, so just before my colleague comes in, what about when you look at the fact that in some known strongholds of your party, where members of Top held sway, like Ijigwe, for instance, your party lost, and they said that was because perhaps the body language of Najim Salam did not suggest that they should go and vote for Gboyega Oyetola, and that was why they left. Known strongholds of your party, where you've not lost in the last almost 12 or 20 years.
A lot of people had lost confidence in the administration and the leadership acumen of the then Governor Gboyega Oyetola, and it affected a lot of us. For instance, in Ejigbo, we have a serving House of Assembly member. He's still the House of Assembly member now. That the Gboyega Oyetola administration with Prince Gboyega Famodun took the ticket of the APC House of Assembly member away from him. They said that they should come and contest, open contest. Our members trooped out en masse. It was recorded. He won the State House Assembly election. They wrote something else at the government house here. How do you placate that kind of the followers of that kind of people to say that they want to go and vote for APC? In any case, it is not peculiar to Ejigbo alone. When Igafamodun came, the party chairman, he did 8 years or so under Rauf Aregbesola. He was a kangaroo in a kangaroo and unlike manner, acclaimed side of their own chairman, who is now our chairman, who was even gone. He has since abandoned the ship, the sinking ship of APC, to go and crown the king of Igbajo. That's part of what we are saying. We'll come back to that. He lost his local government. The then party chairman, did he work against Boyegafa Oyetola? He didn't. He worked for him. He worked for the governor, but they still lost. Not he only won his unit. He lost his word. Why? Because people did not have confidence in the manner at which they led the party. So the thing that happened then, there is a saying in Yoruba, I'm a Yoruba person, what happened in Osun State then was a tsunami. They mismanaged the party, they mismanaged the government, they didn't bring on board the original Isueleru, that is those who owns the land. Who owns the land? We owns the land. They shot the owners of the land outside the gate. So hence, things got wrong. So Prince Najim Salam Iwaloye did not work against the interest of the party. No. He did his best, but then, unfortunately, the best wouldn't be enough as a result of the counter-chaos activities of the past government and the party as at then. So I must say it to you that other one is bygone now. As I've said, we lost power in Ekiti some 5 years ago. I mean, Powershe won. And we were able to reposition ourselves. I was part of the committee then that went to Ekiti for repositioning the party that 4 years is a small time in politics. We are beginning it now. If you begin to count it now, it's no longer 4 years that Governor Demola Adeleke is going to spend there. The moment we wake up, before the camera is always rolling. So we re-strategized 4 years after we took the power back in Ekiti. We have lost power in Osun State here, and for almost 8 years, Governor Bisi Akande was the first governor that was here during the republic that we are using. We lost it. Oyinlola came and brushed us out. We repositioned ourselves under Rauf Aregbesola. We took the party back. So at a point in time, the entire Southwest, we only even had just one state, just Lagos State. So at a point in time, then one by God, he did it again. We took over everything. So nobody has it all. It's just a mere distraction. That we lost the power in July 16 election was a mere distraction. So the ability of a man is to re-strategize, and like a phone is that bed, if I get it wrong, if I get it right, so it will spring back to life. So what we are doing now is that we want to spring back to life, and I'm sure that we shall definitely come back.
Oh, I'd like to take you back a little bit.
Please do.
You said that on the 15th of July, Ogbeni gave a directive that you should vote APC.
Issued by Adelawa Adebayo, yes.
Do you think that came too late? It came too close to the election for those who, like you said, were already aggrieved to have had a change of mind, if they've already made up their mind to sabotage the party's performance in the election?
24 hours in politics is a long time, a long time. 24 hours is politics is a long time. Now, that statement that was issued on that day was not the first of its kind. But we discovered that a lot of people, we were opening our door, hoping that the Lady Oluwa people will come back to us to embrace us, at least to offer something, that let's work together, at least to pacify our people until the last day. Some of us had already made up our mind that come what may, we have for APC. But we discovered that until the last day, because there is this thing in politics, if a professor is on queue on election day, a professor, if he is on queue, and 10 fools, they are also on queue with their PVC, they will beat the professor. It's a game of number. So when you see anybody, as election approaches, that's why you see when politicians become desperate, you accommodate everybody. So we were hoping that until the last day, that the lady people will come and say, okay, don't be angry, let's just do this thing together. They never did it. They believe so much in themselves. So then when you review this thing again, that then there is need for us to still make a clarion call out to the hardliners that is within us. And that was why that statement came out. So as I've said, a lot of thing permutations has changed overnight in elections before. It was not the first time. And even if you look at politicians, when do you think they disburse election money? On the eve of the election. So does that mean that they have not been doing anything before? Does that mean that they have not been pumping money into the units and into the wards, into the everything before? They have been doing it. But that is the last strategy. So we did what we have to do on record. We did what we have to do practically. We did what we have to do. We spend our money. Did nobody give me money to go to my local government in Boluwadro in Iresi? I came from Iresi. We won our unit. We won our ward. But there are 2 10s in ward. It was 9 and 10. We won the 2 wards then. Lost the rest of the local government. That was why we lost. So we did all what we could. And to answer your question straight, it never came too late. In politics, never say never. Even if it is an hour, never say never.
All right, a part of the statement of Dr. Najim Salam, I'm here to announce the dissolution, quotes now, of factional tendencies of all shades in the party with the sole objective of harmonizing all core Omoluabi progressives on a rebuilding mission that will bring us back to the leadership of our state and the people. End of quote. Now, in some parts of the media yesterday, there were reports that TOP has been dissolved, but Omoluabi Progressives is coming up as another group. Is it a group thing or just an appellation for the party?
Ikmele Omoluabi, when Rauf Aregbesola came on board, we introduced, and Osun State was known as Ikmele Omoluabi, because we brought up the ethos of Omoluabi in us. And whatever you do, we are the toga of Omoluabi. So what we came yesterday, it was not a group, it was not any other thing. We are only saying it that we are for Rauf Aregbesola political dynasty should be known as Omoluabis, which in any case doesn't negate anything. Even the state anthem that is being read to date is about Omoluabi ethos. So we are just coming out yesterday to show that we are Omoluabis. We have dropped the factional APC, we have dropped TOP, but we should be known as, we are now APC, no faction, nothing, but we are Omoluabis in the Progressive Party. You know, as I've told you, in every settings, we just have a black sheep. So the black sheep are still out there. That is who we are trying to rebrand, rebuild, that our party is not just a party of all comers. In a manner that a lot of things has happened. Baba Bisi Akande is our respected value, was referring to someone as wolves in sheep's skin. And these are the people, and a lot of people have joined the party who ordinarily they have not been rebaptized. And that's why we are now preaching now that everybody should come on board and wear the toga of the progressive Omoluabi that is known with us since the Awolowo era. That is what we are preaching. We are not coming out on any other platform. We are not coming out, but I wish to be referred to the progressive Omoluabi in Osun APC.
So there's been no report from the, as you put it, Ilerioluwa group yet. Now the question is, what happens? You are laying down your swords, sheathing your swords, as it were, no more fighting.
Yes.
What happens if there is no interface between the now defunct TOP and the Ilerioluwa faction?
Well, as I've told you, this thing is a matter of strategy. When you want to go on pitch, a game of football, 11 versus 11, for lovers, for those that love the young leader sports, they will say Barcelona will beat Getafe. Within just a minute, Barcelona will be 2-0 down. Then the coach, if he knows what he is doing, will just look at it, that how can I organize, how can I re-strategize. He's using 4-3-3 before, he might revert to 5-2-1, he might revert to this, he might revert to that. So when we come to the breach, where and if, peradventure, it is possible, nothing is impossible in politics, peradventure they refuse to yield, we shall know that you see, let me tell you one thing, we are the original owners of the land. I told you one thing, they were there. The people that were in the rural side, they were there, they were doing how they were doing because we were in power. Pre-2018, where are all those people? Most of them have even abandoned the APC leadership and they are gone to ADP. Most of them were even working for PDP. Those that are going to embrace, all of them, most of them, The rest of them that were there, they were never with us from the beginning. They never participated in the struggle. They never knew what we went through to get the power. Even from the PDP then. Hence, they mismanaged power. What are we now saying now? Look at the thing that Prince Boyega Famodun did. APC lost. Instead of you as the chairman to stay and look at how you are going to reposition the party, rally everybody together, you abandon the ship and to go and without, unceremoniously, you became the king. Abandon policy, abandon everybody. So APC in Osun practically were almost without leadership as it is. And now that we are coming on board, we strongly believe with the intervention of the APC as the national level, with the intervention of our party leaders, we have opened a Truth and Reconciliation Committee. We'll be having a meeting. We will be reaching out to them. We are not waiting for them to come to us. We'll be reaching out to them.
All right. So because of our time, yes. Comrade, are you sure this is not a ploy by your own tendency in the party to prepare the grounds for a fresh battle to take over the structure of the party in the state?
Definitely, we must take it.
Oh, you are taking over the structure of the party?
Definitely.
Do you recognize Tajude Lawal as the current chairman of the party?
He is the acting chairman of the party, as it is.
You recognize the fact?
Definitely.
So Razak Salinsile is no longer the chairman of the party?
Obviously. It was a collective decision.
Yesterday. So you recognize
our former chairman, the Abdulrasak Ayobami Salinsile, when he was the secretary, the party was not like this. When he was even the chairman of the party until yesterday, we knew what we did, how we managed our party to show the naysayers that this is how it is to be done. But as I've said, Alhaji Razak Salinsile Ayobami came together, sat together with Lowo Adebi, with Alhaji Adeoti, with our leader Rauf Aregbesola, Dr. Najim, and other erudite people, and we looked at it as we come together. It is not a personal service. It is a collective decision that we must take over power back in Osun State.
I saw some chieftains on the other side yesterday saying, well, so if you want to come, good for you, but then Aregbesola and his guys should acknowledge and recognize Omisore and Oyetola as their leaders.
Nobody is taking anything. Omisore is national secretary of the party. I was at the convention where he was elected. No, nobody.
So you acknowledge him as the party?
Top had never at any point in time claimed that they never recognized party structure at the national level. At the state level, there was crisis. It is still subjected to litigation. Our case is still in appeal court as we speak.
Are you going to withdraw that case?
Definitely, we are looking at all that.
You're considering that?
We are there already.
All options are on the table.
We are almost through with all the process. When we say we want to do something, we come out openly to say we want to do it. With whether they want to come on board to romance what we are offering. You see, in the Bible, what we want to show to the world is that we are genuine and we are sincere in our reconciliation. Apology to other school of thought. There's a story in the Bible about two women fighting over a child. This one says, "It's my child." The other one says, "It's my child." And the king, Solomon, came down, okay, who owns the child within the two of you? They still cannot agree. They were still agreeing because one has slept on his baby and the baby is dead. And the king says, okay, I know what I'm going to do. Since you cannot find a harmonious and a common ground to agree that this belongs to this one, let me just split the child into two. And one said, okay, split it. The other said, okay, don't worry, don't split it. I can't allow the baby to die. Give it to her. When the child grows, it will come back to me. Then the king uses his wisdom to know, okay, definitely.
So you think that's what's happening within your party today?
Definitely. If there is a crisis,
yes,
and one side came on board that, okay, in the interest of the party, let's come together. Politics is a game of crisis. Definitely.
Are you sure that those on your side will ever be forgiven? You know, because they say, our pot of soup, you kicked it away. Now you want us to come back and do what?
Nobody kicked anybody's pot of soup away. If you left your pot on watch, if you are cooking something and you left it on, your food will get burnt. And if you get burnt, you won't throw the pot away. Look at how you can salvage it.
Okay, so is it true that
Obanikoro left our party at a point in time? Is even back today. A lot of
conversations, because I need to let you go because of our time. But is it true that yesterday's move was because there is a dissent in your own ranks? That some of your members are already on the way to the PDP, aside Kolapo Alimi, and it was actually a face-saving measure.
That's absolutely a lie. You see, when we hold on to our members, we hold on to our members. Nobody is on it.
Because I didn't notice Razak Alhaji Salim was not part of that meeting yesterday, was he?
Alhaji Razak Salim was not in the country yesterday. He was ready.
What about Honorable B. Odunlade?
Honorable B. Odunlade came eventually. He was there.
Part of the press conference.
He was there. He came late.
That was after the press conference.
He came late. He met us in the press conference.
You're saying it's not because of any dissent or people wanting to cross to the PDP?
I knew why people are insinuating one thing. Our party lost election in Osun. On the day of the inauguration at the stadium, people were able to sight silently there, and they thought that he has abandoned the ship, and that is what they don't know. That's what we are preaching. Ethos of Omoluabis. Silently was there. We knew he was personally invited by the government into the VVIP section. Rather for us to continue to play politics of bitterness, Fayose went to Fayome's inauguration for crying out loud.
So you're saying Alhaji Salim Sile and B. Odunlade, they are not affected the PDP?
In any case, I've told you Alhaji is not on grant yesterday. B. Odunlade came and met us. I'm speaking this all right, here.
Well, let's leave it at that. But we'll definitely keep tabs on this and definitely monitor it. But we'd like to thank you for coming, Comrade Oluwaseun Abosede,
Safety, welcome. Thank you,
former youth leader of the APC in Osun State, and also a member of the now defunct Osun Progressives. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's the first leg of the conversation. We'll be switching gears when we come back.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
and your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
On this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Thank you so much for joining us again. You're still on to Morning Spring, and it's coming to you from Western Spring Television. Well, we have other guests joining us here. Comrade, I know you also prefer Comrade. Comrade Kehinde Ayantunji is a member of the APC. He is the former Senior Civil Assistant to former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola on Student Affairs and Youth Mobilization, Social Mobilization. Joining us live in the studios here. He's also a former chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Spring, sir.
Thanks so much for the privilege. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, so, some interesting developments in your party. Yesterday, the group known as the Osun Progressives that has been at different, we've not been on the same page for some time now, announced the cessation of hostilities, announced the dissolution of the group, and said they are now in a spirit of reconciliation and peace, wants everybody to come together and then forge a new path ahead. What's the reaction of your own tendency within the party to that move yesterday? And did you see it coming at all?
Well, let me first say this, that the All Progressive Congress in Osun, under the leadership of the acting chairman, Chief Tajuddin Lawal, will come out with a position in respect of this decision very soon. But as one of the members of APC, as one of the adherent supporter of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, I received the news with mixed feelings. It's a combination of the good, the bad, and the ugly. When you look at the precedents and antecedents of the top. So I knew that the organization will die one day, you understand? But it was not a surprise. But I said it, that combination of the good, the bad, and the ugly is good when they come back to make sincere reconciliation that will lead to the development of our party, that will strengthen our party. Politics is a game of number. Political party is a matter of numerical strength. The more members you have, the higher your chances in any election. It's going to be a very good one for APC if they are ready, sincerely and genuinely, to come and reunite with their family members and collectively grow APC. But it's going to be a very bad omen if their intention is just to change color. That you are wearing black before, maybe that black has become a stained color. It has become a color that people want to see. It has become a color that people are isolating in society. That let us change to white. But our content and character has not changed. So let us just come and begin the usual way of our agitation, begin our usual way of dividing the party, begin the usual way of disparaging the party leadership and party structure. So that's going to be a bad one. The ugly one that we don't expect is that it may be a decision. Maybe some of them want to move to another party, or they want to form a third force. Because when you look at the speech very well, I read it twice yesterday, it's a form of a contradiction. When you say you want to unite with APC, you don't also need to form any acronyms or appellation. It's like you don't know what you want to do, or you don't know how best you can do it. Because when you say unite with APC, what we expect is that everybody should go back to his local government, to his ward, unite with their leaders. They are respected leaders of our party. Some of them are in my local government. We cannot be holding our party meeting and they came. We won't chase them away. But when you now still form Omoluabi Progressives, if they still hide under that, it can also serve as a pilot to drive people out of the party. That would be the most unfortunate, and that would be the most ugly aspect of it. But it is good if they are ready and sincere to come back. I think some of them have learned their lesson, although in a very hard way. So it is going to be in the best interest of the party if they come on the good aspect of it.
Comrade Ayotunji, but I mean, so by your reading of it, do you think the call for reconciliation yesterday and the announcement of cessation of hostilities, do you think it's sincere?
Yes, of course. I will still be skeptical about their sincerity of purpose. Maybe in the next 2-3 weeks, as events unfold, we really evaluate their sincerity. Because let me say this, it's important to let the members of the public know this, that what happened yesterday was a child of necessity. Yes, it was not something they were happy about. And I'm saying it publicly, I challenge them to dispute what I want to say. What happened was that, you know, some of them work for the People Democratic Party in the just concluded governorship election. Know that, but it's before the popular knowledge. And I can also confirm that few of them really voted, not work for our party, really voted for our party as a matter of conscience, that we are so fanatical about progressive family and we cannot, because of invite, and vote for another party. And some of them thought that at least we have planted a seed somewhere. Therefore, we must reap, we must harvest that seed. That we work for Demola Adeleke, now Demola Adeleke has won. Therefore, we must ask for compensation with political appointment. Some of them are tending towards this proposition. Some are saying, no, let us remain the way we are. We will be in top and continue to agitate in NPC. You understand? Some are saying, let us come back to our party. We cannot continue to fight because we are gradually becoming a bat, an orphan that does not have father or mother. That could not be categorized. That could not be well placed. So that let us come back to our party and unite with our people. I just to apologize. So, but day before yesterday, I'm saying it. I can confirm to you that the former factional chairman and the chairman of TOP, Alhaji Rasaq Salinsile, he attended the picture was viral. He attended the inauguration of Senator Ademola Adeleke. Majority
They said
of them,
he was invited.
Yes, I don't know about that, but majority of them were not comfortable. Many of the top members attended that inauguration because they had talked before. They were in discussion. It's politics, and some of them are already considering taking appointments from Ademola Adeleke.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, you will see. As time goes on, I'll be vindicated with this. But some leadership of TOP are not comfortable with it because the stigma of Barrister Kolapo Alimi is still on them. Because majority of the progressive founding father-in-law should believe that the former governor and the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, piloted the exit of some of these people to People's Democratic Party. That if we don't have TOP as a splinter group in APC, there is possibility that somebody like Barrister Kolapo Alimi will still remain in APC. Just 48 hours ago, Right Honorable Lasun Yusuf openly declared that he's already with the PDP. And it was TOP that they used as a vehicle to move to PDP. And many others that are not so prominent, they are already, some of my friends who are TOP members, they have already been, because they have dig the hole so deep to a level that they don't even have enough sand to cover it again. So they felt that the best thing is to leave this party and let us go and associate with it. So, and they don't want that stigma again. They don't want them to see TOP as a vehicle to transport people to PDP. So they wanted to remove Alhaji Salinsile as they wanted to suspend him 48 hours ago.
Are you sure about
that? Yes, of course. Yeah.
Was that at the meeting of TOP?
Yes.
But you are not a member of TOP, so how come you...
We have fillers. We have fillers. We are giving us information. He wanted to be punished for that. You understand?
At their meeting 48 hours ago?
No, at their meeting at Onami House. They had a meeting before, not that yesterday press conference.
Okay.
They had a meeting and there was a plan to suspend him from the TOP, but they were overwhelmed because he also has his member too. So there are issues in TOP. So, and they now thought that the best thing to do is to even dissolve this organization so that nobody will use it as a platform to negotiate anywhere any longer. Because if you are not a member of TOP, you cannot, as an individual, go and negotiate with PDP. So some of them they are promising some of them commissioner, they are promising some of them local government chairman, and some of them are saying, look, the leadership of TOP, we cannot continue this way. We cannot remain perpetually out of office. You said we should not work with Gboyega Oyetola. You said we should not work with we work silently with Adeleke. Now Adeleke is now the governor. And you are now saying we should also not go to him as a beneficiary of that electoral process. So they disagree with some of the leadership. So they have very serious, deep internal rancor. And the decision is that, okay, the best thing is that let us even dissolve this platform so that we can strategize. And that stigma, because the entire world are watching them. Because if you are a governor, if you are a commissioner under a political party, between 1999 and 2003, commissioner for works in Lagos, and you contested in 2007, I'm referring to the former governor of Aregbesola, 2007, people stood by you firmly, and you ruled this state for 8 years. After that, you also became the Minister of Interior under the same platform, and you now want to use some segment of that platform, you want to transport them to opposition party to destroy the structure that people built for you to become the governor, the structure you presided over as governor. So it's a moral issue. So therefore, perhaps the leadership of TOP are also avoiding this. But there are many there. Do you want to mention Honorable Naji Salam, who used 8 years as speaker? He was elected in 2007 and 2011, but tribunal nullified his election. So apparently he has been in the House of Assembly for almost 12 years before he also got another federal appointment. So it's a moral issue for them that we are beneficiary of this party, we are product of this party.
So you feel that yesterday's press conference is not all about genuine reconciliation, it's about also managing the crisis within their ranks?
It was not an ordinary press conference. It was an emergency press conference to address the sinking status of
we just spoke to Safety, Comrade Abosede, and he said challenge that we're talking about was not even in the country, and that was why he didn't come to the press conference yesterday.
Yes, I don't know about that, whether it's in country or not, but to the best of my knowledge, and you will see, when you look at social media, some of their followers have begun to even abuse them. That which progressive, useless progressive. I'm not going back. You can see on social media that no leader that does not know me, leader that does not see me, leader that have been deceiving me, leader that want to destroy my future. They are beginning to call their leaders all manner of names. So what I'm saying is that they have issues within the top. And in reality, you cannot also be chasing shadow perpetually. In reality, because you ask yourself a question. You are not a terrorist, you are not a bandit, and you are insisting on one thing persistently. Do you want reconciliation? You say no. Do you want this? You say no. All you want is that Governor Adeboye Otola must not become the governor. And after we lost election, they were the first set of people who troop out to mock our party. They had a protest that the next thing is to restructure the party. Less than 48 hours that we lost election, and they begin to mention the name of our leaders, mocking them. Adeboye Otola Olule. That's the new acronym that is so popular that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has stylishly introduced to Yoruba vocabulary. You understand? Olule Memowaye Olule. Boyegafa Modu Olule. They flooded the street of Osogbo to mock the party you claim to belong to. One of the worst things that should happen to any political party is to lose election. It's the worst. Because the primary objective of any political party is to take over power, is to get power in the interest of the people and to serve the people. So when you don't get that power, you cannot even serve the people. No matter how lofty your manifesto might have been, no matter your experience in leadership and public office, no matter your sincerity, if you don't have that power, you can't exercise it. So the worst that can happen to any political party is when you lose an election. And when you lose an election, you will first be in a sober reflection, review what led to this loss, and look at opportunities to reclaim that mandate if there are chances. Because the first thing we did when we lost that election, we reviewed the result of the election. And we are convinced that genuinely we lost count, we didn't lose votes. And we approached the tribunal. If truly they are sincere members of our party, they should be concerned about that litigation. That, okay, we lost the election, we have the chance of coming back. Governor Adeboye lost election in 2007. He prosecuted his litigation for 3.5 years. Finally, all the party members stood by him. Nobody mocked him. Nobody, even those who have differences with him. So it is unfortunate thing to be discussed here, because when you look at some of the people who have benefited from the party, when you look at some of the people who have sacrificed for the party in 2007, in just one day alone, February 14, 2007, our party lost close to 14 people on the day of election. So when you look at the sacrifice, and that's supreme sacrifice, when you look at the sacrifice of some people, and we have some people since 1999, they have not even benefited anything from this party. They have not been a party executive at one level since 1999. So when you look at all these interests, you should feel remorse about it. So to me, we are still looking at them, because when you look at the content of that press conference, there is no sign of remorse. But when you work against your party, you lost election. To me, the most honorable thing is to first apologize and admit that you have realized your mistake. So therefore, let us continue as one family. So we'll be looking at them in days to come, in weeks to come, and evaluate their sincerity. But one thing that is certain is that APC, under the leadership of Chief Tajudeen Lawal, is open to any genuine reconciliation. But they will not allow any form of action or inaction that will further undermine the supremacy of the party. They will not allow that, because the party ignore the anti-party activities during the last government election does not mean that the party is comfortable with their conduct. And that's why if they want to come genuinely, they should feel remorse. You understand? They should be remorseful, apologize. It is not too much, because the damage they cause, they engage Governor Adeboye Oyetola more than opposition party. Go and review some of our public outing, criticism, issues, and engagement. When you evaluate it properly and you do an empirical study on it, you will see that top have negative content against Governor Adeboye Oyetola, even more than the PDP. As at that period, we could not even see PDP as an opposition. But top were speaking. So you can't do that and think it will just be over like that. No. You must restrain your step, apologize to the party, and come back as a convertee, born again, that is sincere and ready to pursue All Progressive Congress ideology.
Well, when we spoke with Safety Comrade Abosede this morning, he said that some members of the top were harassed and, almost, in fact, physically harmed, and that because of that, they are also angry and aggrieved. Do you feel that your party, and by extension some members of your party, does owe them, also owes them an apology, the same way you are claiming that they should apologize to you?
Well, yes, let me say this. There might be allegations of attack or no attack, but you cannot apologize for what you don't responsible for. I'm saying it openly that at least they have reported the case to the police and that security agents, and up to today, I have not seen a proof that any of our party leader or any of our party member responsible for that. In politics, you always experience competition. And even when they were in top, as a splinter group within the party, they even have issue. Do you know that 2 people contested for the factional party chairman because they used top to fragment APC so that they can exploit as a platform to contest during the party congress. So they used to first APC members from the world level to the local government level to the state level so that they can use that platform to contest during the world, local government and state congress of APC. So there were competition among them. The safety that you mentioned is my very good friend, but he was not the only one that contested for the factional youth leader. Some people contested against him. So when you are competing, there is possibility to have such manner of attack. So, but we are not responsible for that. And the one they were claiming, they may be claiming or they may be linking to us what the day they came to party secretariat. And if anybody should be accused of violent attack, they should be the one. They mobilize the mob. And that's why I said they will have to openly apologize to APC Notion. They mobilized the mob to the state party secretariat. They were stoning from far. They brutalized some of the staff of the party secretariat. You understand? To the extent that some of them were hospitalized. I don't know how you have that courage, that temerity, to attack the symbol you claim to cherish, to attack the symbol you are pronouncing to be preserved. So these are moral issues. So therefore, we don't responsible for such attack. We cannot apologize. But to embrace them is very, very easy. But I cannot embrace transformer or electric pole. It is important to clearly show us their true color. Let us know why you are you here sincerely or you want to continue with the order that they are respected members of our party. Edalo Adebiyi was acted as a state chairman. Razak Salinsile was former House of Assembly member and former state secretary of APC. Honorable Najib Salam, 10 years in the House of Assembly and former speaker. These are people that you cannot ignore. But we are not going to ignore them if they are not going to continue with order. So that is just the simple analysis.
You're talking about sabotaging your party during the election.
Yes.
Comrade Safety did mention that on the eve of the election, there was a directive by the person who seems to be the convener of the Osun Progressives, that's Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, instructing all members of TOP to work for the APC. How do you respond to that?
It's a statement I cannot believe, and it's a statement that nobody can prove it.
No, but there was actually a statement. They released a statement.
Yes,
24 hours of the election.
It's something to, it's one to say something, and it's another thing to act in that manner. We are politicians. We were all on the field. July 16, 2022. We knew what they did. In fact, some of their leaders pretended to a level that they voted for APC, and they will show it. And they directed all their members, all their supporters, to vote against APC. This happened in Ejigbo. Yes, some of our members who monitor Honorable Salam claim that he voted for APC. But all his supporters, you understand? All his supporters were directed to vote for.
Without exception? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, majority. What you are talking about?
Do you have the evidence of where they were asked? I mean, so because that'll be an allegation that you said he directed his supporters to.
All of them.
Have you any instance where that happened, or you have any evidence to say that he actually directed supporters to vote?
Yes, of course. They had several meetings.
And he told them pointedly at those meetings
of course.
that you vote for the
PDP?
PDP?
They had several meetings before that election. That directive was just to play to the gallery. I say this.
You are sure that there was a meeting?
I say this with all sense of responsibility. 4 weeks before that election, they were already discussing with PDP. They were in negotiation with them. They were strategizing, and I told you that political meeting is not a secret meeting. It will definitely leak. So our party was also making effort to reconcile with them, to persuade them. They had a meeting in Elisha. Alhaji Azeez Adesiji is alive today. Edakunle Odeyemi and others, including the current speaker. They called them to a meeting in Elisha. They persuaded them. They begged them. They even placed their demand before the Ijesha elders of our party. At the end of the day, they voted for people. It was a conscious and deliberate effort to vote against Governor Adeboye Oguntola. They are fought to do so. All those that you are hearing now is just an excuse. You understand? To evade the real issue. But they were boasting before the election. They were singing. Siaka Olo Wala Afi Bole. They said it secretly. They said it openly. You understand? So if they are now coming that they work for APC, is a lie. Blatant lie.
You do not believe that they work for the APC?
Oh, they work seriously against it. We are political. We have been working together before. You understand? So, but as I've said earlier, there are few exceptions. Few exceptions among them who said, for no reason, I will never vote against APC. I may not work for them. I may not mobilize for them, but one vote. But most of their gladiators, and that is the consequence. The consequence is what we are saying as a dissolution of thought.
So, and will you now be willing, I mean, in light of that, because we need to let you go now, will now be willing to actually reconcile with them after what has happened?
Yes, of course.
You believe their actions contributed to the loss of your party at the polls?
Yes,
and so if they've gone that mile, would you be willing to sit down with them and reconcile?
Yes, of course. I told you before, politics is a game of number. And the strength of any political party is their numerical strength, because it's one man, one vote. No matter your status, whether you are rich or poor, if there is anything that we can measure as equality, is vote. Your status does not determine my status, but my vote and your vote is one vote. So we are ready, but there must be sincerity. Let me cite an example. Governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola, in 2007, he was one of the governors that really tormented AC. 2006 to 2010. It was a tough battle. And when he decided that he wanted to leave PDP, he came back. He had meeting with our leaders. In some of these meetings, he explained why he has to take that action that time.
Why he had to return to the PDP?
When he openly declared to join APC at the popular Nelson Mandela Freedom Park, he apologized that whatever anybody that might have been offended as a result of this, as a result of that, I'm here. And with the little period it was with us, he was obedient to the party. He was complying with the rules of the party. He accepted the leadership of the party. He was not saying, I'm the former governor, therefore remove Lower Adebi as the acting chairman. The only thing they gave him then to honor him was the ticket of House of Assembly in his local government as a former governor. You know the difference of our party with Senator Yolo Missouri for a very long time. When he came back, he accepted leadership of the party. He's working in line with the dictate of the party. He never formed a splinter group within the party. Yeah. And now he's one of the major beneficiaries of our party by becoming the national secretary of our party. So what we are saying is that we are ready. They are our people. But you must not continue with your old style. It's dangerous. So the question of trust must be reinvented. The question of loyalty must be considered.
Comrade Ayotunji, we need to go now. I mean, so we'll keep tabs on this development and possibly bring you back again sometime soon. We do hope that you're able to manage the issues within your party. But thank you so much for coming on Morning Spring this morning.
Thanks so much. I'm very happy for giving me this.
Comrade Kehinde Ayotunji is a former senior special assistant to former Governor Adeboyega Oyetola on student affairs and social mobilization, and is also a chieftain of the APC. Well, that's the show this morning. Oh, I'll be stepping aside, not stepping aside as one head of state then stepped aside. I'll just be, moving to the other side while Emmanuel continues to bring us what's trending. What's trending today, Emmanuel?
What's trending? That's CBN and its new cash policy.
Have you the new note? Are you giving us the new note?
No, I don't have it. Even if I have, I would keep it to myself for a while. And of course, the crisis and now seeming resolution within the APC in Osun State.
All right. Okay. So that's what's trending. Emmanuel will be back with that after this. Thank you.
You like a TV station that breaks the barriers of your TV screen. A TV station that brings infotainment to your forefront, breaking the conceptual fourth wall. Giving you television that is personal to you and your everyday life. Indigenous broadcasting for every man, cutting across the shackles of age, class, and language. With the best of equipment in digitized broadcasting. At Western Spring Television, your television experience has never been this magical.
We bring you the best in news and programs, breaking news to you as it drops from where it drops.
Talk shows that keep you glued to your seats. Sports programs not void of in-depth analysis. Entertainment programs cutting across all ages. Political analysis with all its accompanying controversies. Social responsibility because we care. Western Nigeria gave us our first feel of television. Western Spring Television is taking us to the next level.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
and your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
On this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
good morning and welcome to Spring Trends on Western Spring Television, that part of the morning spring program where we bring you who is trending, what is trending, why they are trending, and what people are saying about the who, what, and why. My name is Emmanuel Ujadigele. Thank you so much for joining us. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television and on Twitter at WSTV_NG. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television and also watch us live, watch all our programs live on YouTube. This morning, we'll begin with finance. We'll start with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Yesterday, the Central Bank of Nigeria released a revised cash withdrawal limit following its Naira redesign policy. And very quickly, I'd like to take some of the talking point of that particular revised cash policy. Number one is that the maximum over-the-counter withdrawal by individuals is now 100,000 and 500,000 naira for corporate organizations per week. Third-party checks above 50,000 naira should not be eligible for payment over the counter, while extant limits of 10 million naira on clearing checks still subsist. And number three, the maximum withdrawal of cash via ATM teller machine shall be 100,000 naira, subject to a maximum of 20,000 naira per day. And number four is only denominations of 200 naira and below shall be loaded into the ATMs. And number five is that the maximum cash withdrawal via point of sale POS terminal shall be 20,000 naira. And that particular incident got a lot of people talking on social media yesterday. Now let's go straight away to the reactions of people to that particular incident yesterday. The first comment is from Kalu Aja and says the CBN hopes that making Naira scarce will increase its value. Again, we shall all learn economics together. That's from Kalu Aja. The next comment is Nwa Onye Nkuzi, says, I wonder what the goal is. If it's cashless policy, it may work to an extent, but make cash very expensive on the black market. If it's inflation, that's a waste of time. If it's to tackle kidnapping and terrorism, then now poor man go suffer. The next comment is from Paul Chino. It says, grain market in Gombe does a daily transaction volume of 3 billion naira. 90% of the transactions are cash-based, and the local farmers don't even have a bank account. Talk much more of accepting payment by transfer. With CBN new policy, it's more business for POS operators, and that's coming from Chino there. And you can see the next comment from one jobless boy. It says 200 naira notes from January. Yes, we expect that from January, 200 naira notes will be very proud, carrying shoulder up for the other notes. You know, it will buga, it will go low, and then buga for all the other naira notes, because that will be the highest naira note in the ATMs. Now from Joy Ojabulu, Euphoria Stick says, you can't make cash withdrawals of more than 20K and 100K daily and weekly respectively. You can't deposit above 100K weekly as an individual. My 2 cents, just go purchase Kolo, piggy bank from Iyalagbo Diaz, CBN Mint, and Emefiele's Clanry just went a step higher. That's from Joy Ojabulu on Twitter this morning. We'd like to move on to the next story now. Here in Osun State, away from the CBN yesterday, there was a very interesting development. The APC, which has always had, factions in its rank, yesterday the faction of the APC, the top, the Osun Progressive, came out to say that they are no longer fighting and are now extending their hand of fellowship to everyone who's a progressive at heart. And then they've dissolved all of their party structures. That's the factional party structure now. And they are willing to align with the main party. And so I asked yesterday, what do people make of this situation on Twitter? But before Twitter, let's go to Facebook and take comments from there. David Olufunsho, in fact, you can see my tweet up there on the screen. Members of the Osun Progressives Congress top, they've dissolved their group. Now, David Olufunsho, Fagbongbe Gold on Facebook says, dissolution of top. You have all achieved your aim of sending APC out of power. Besides, more than half of you are now in PDP. That's from David Fagbongbe, still on Facebook. Afolabi Rafiq Benga says, after you top cast your vote for PDP and attended his swearing-in upper last Sunday, Ilere Oluwa is coming. The next comment is Free Mandate Olatunji Abidoye. If you want to join PDP, exhibit the courage of Alimi. Top dissolved. That's the much we can take for you on Spring Trends this morning. Do not forget to join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. Don't forget also to follow us on all our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram, on Western Spring Television, and on Twitter is at WSTV_NG. You can follow me on Twitter at EM Ujadigele. And my name is Emmanuel Ujadigele. I'll see you tomorrow. Merry Christmas in advance.